let's talk about something that OneLiquidity can help you do. So let's invite Munachi to the stage.
Hello. Hi, everyone. Everybody looks happy today. Can I sit? Thank you very much. Let me tell you guys a little bit about my background before we dive deep into what OneLiquidity does. And I started my background about in 2013, 2014. And back then, we were building a peer-to-peer service for students moving inventory in school, because we all went to tertiary institutions where you are leaving school, you have a bunch of inventory, books, bags, things you don't need anymore, and we have people coming in and they have to repurchase this. And so the tertiary institution creates a lot of waste, So what we were trying to do back then was kind of close that gap, and close that inventory gap. So it evolved to be a startup called Varsity today. It has grown to be one of the larger players in e-commerce on the continent, But sometime in 2016, I fell into the crypto rabbit hole, and I think a friend was telling me something about crypto, but it became something that has kind of been a part of my journey for a while. And I got my first Bitcoin sometime in 2016 for about $500. So it was good times back then, And since I got it, I've not been able to lose it. It has become a bad addiction for me, So we have scaled that out. And 2016 was a while. There were like 10 people doing crypto, understanding crypto in the whole Nigeria, So there were just 2 exchanges, and it's good to see one of them is still here today. It was BitX. Who knows which platform? Do you know what BitX is? Most of us wouldn't know, but BitX was Luno. It's what Luno is today. And there was NairaX. So those were the only 2 platforms, And, back then accessing crypto was very, very difficult. Long story short, that is how I got here today, And to take my career a little bit further, I joined a startup called Yellow Card. It was in 2018. Back then, Yellow Card was not even in Africa at all. So Chris messaged me. I was like, hey, we like what you're doing in the space. Why don't you come together? Let's build Yellow Card. So I literally brought Yellow Card into Africa. And today, like a few months ago, we closed a $40 million round, But it's been a journey. It's been a journey. So the reason why I decided to do OneLiquidity was because I took all the experiences I've learned in building startups from scratch, and putting it all together into what we are building today. So OneLiquidity is basically liquidity as a service, but taking it a bit further, what are the issues? So what are the issues when you start building your startup? The thing you would first realize is capital is not everything. You raising capital is maybe secondary your problem. The most important thing that you face, or the biggest challenge you face, is how to manage that capital you're going to raise. And in Africa, capital is scarce. So every business in Africa needs to know how to make money. And knowing how to make money means you have to reduce your cost. So and one of the biggest costs you're going to feel is high technology cost. Technology is good to build, but it's very expensive. Apart from paying for servers, which will cost you a lot, you have to pay for compliance, you have to pay for wallet processing, you have to pay the service providers. This is an extreme cost. If you raise $10,000, before you make your first down payment, all the money is gone. Compliance fees alone costs like $10,000 to $20,000. So before you have paid for compliance alone, which is an absolute necessity, you're already done. Another thing you see is technical debt. Technical debt is you, as a typical fintech, you need to implement maybe like 30 APIs to actually do what you want to do. And the problem with that is all these APIs are saying 3 different things. One is in Python, one is in Java, one is in TypeScript. Your engineers are going to be backlogged with a lot of understanding, reading, re-implementing, reorganizing. This is a very, very big cost because engineering resources are very, very important. And understanding how to manage it is also very important. Another thing you're going to face, I think this is probably the biggest thing for people that are in fintech, is liquidity. This one will completely cripple your business because you can have a good startup, a good business, but if you don't have the liquidity to run it, it's going to be dead in the water. Your customers will come, the customer experience will be horrible, and they can't make trades, they can't withdraw, they can't send out. You can't even pay for things. Liquidity spans in different things. And the last one is your focus is going to be divided. Thinking about how you're going to solve these three problems and really focusing on your customers is going to be a big, big problem. So in the years we built Yellow Card, these are kind of the biggest challenges we faced. And for me, I decided to build OneLiquidity after Yellow Card got to a good place. I was like, you guys don't need me anymore, so let me try and help other people. So what is OneLiquidity? OneLiquidity is a one-stop shop for technology and liquidity, just to make it simple. So what we do is we work with businesses, fintechs, anybody that is trying to build something around technology, crypto. We have a lot of crypto flavor. So if you're building anything in those space, what we try to do is we make it easier for you. Just remove the headache, so you don't need to go through all the headaches, understanding what it is, implementing 30 different APIs to build one simple suite. We have done all the heavy lifting for you, and we give you modular blocks to be able to re-architect your solution and make it easier for you to go to market. So I've thrown this word around a lot. What is liquidity? But let me break it down a bit. Liquidity is many things to many people. For me, liquidity means having money, but on a broader technical term, liquidity means 4 major points. First thing is exchange. Liquidity is the ability for you to exchange value. The ability for me to take your money and give you a corresponding value is liquidity at good price, which is very important. Another thing about liquidity is credit. Credit is a very, very big thing that most people don't really understand. Like, one thing we don't even know in the world is that the US government probably has 50 times more credit than actual cash. So for every dollar note you see, there's $50 of credit being created because the system needs to run. And credit is something that can increase productivity without necessarily increasing the work you need to do. So credit in this sense is we're talking about long and medium-term loans to businesses to be able to process transactions and keep things going. Another thing is float, which is very, very important. So float, if you think about it as a short burst of capital, for instance, I need to go and I need to do a trade, you understand? But my money is stuck somewhere. Or let's say you collect payments with Paystack. They tell you it takes T+1 for the money to actually drop, but you need to pay your vendor. That business is completely casted because the vendor is calling you, where's my money? The person you need to pay is calling you, where's my stuff? And you are just stuck in the middle. You need to tell them, wait for 1 to 3 days before they can deliver. You need float at that point to keep you going. And the last thing is margin. So this is more around taking the little you have and amplifying the value. So all these are the concepts of liquidity, and how this integrates with different players in the space is very, very important. Another thing we do is technology. One thing I try to tell people is that every single fintech in the world are doing basically the same thing. Think about two fintechs that are so far apart. Let's take Binance. We all know Binance. And let's take Flutterwave. It may look like they are doing two different things, but fundamentally they are doing the same thing. There are 4 main things that fintechs do. One is to store and exchange value. Whether it's Binance or it's Flutterwave, they do the same thing. They need to store and exchange value for you, whether you like it or not. And that is a technology product. Now, the ability to collect and disburse value, whether you think about it, whether it's Binance or Flutterwave, they do exactly that. They collect and disburse value for you. And the third thing is they need to be able to verify that you own the value and you are not bringing dirty money into their platform. So this is actually a technology function. And the last thing is every new product, whatever it may be, whatever fintech you are thinking about, you need to add new product lines and you need to add new markets. So these are technology factors that any business will face. And as you grow your business, you need to consider how technology can solve these problems for you. So what's our solution? Our solution is a one-stop shop for accelerating the growth in the technology space by providing business with low cost, on-demand, and highly scalable liquidity and technology. I think the biggest problem that you would face is when you want to pay for infrastructure, you would have to pay pre-funded or post-funded. So you need to pay a big chunk of money. Remember, you raised $10,000. You need to pay compliance is $5,000. Maybe they pity you, they like you. They give you $5,000. You have $5,000 left. How are you going to process transactions? How are you going to pay your distance? So what you need is a business model that lets you grow lets you pay when you actually have business. You understand? It gives you the ability to run, keep running. And as you get bigger, you understand, you are not tied down by dunking capital in one place and using, instead of money you should be using to serve your customers, you have to pre-fund and wait for customers to come, you know. So the way we built our business is we want every little startup integrating into us to be able to process value, keep processing value, keep scaling, keep doing more until you get wherever you want to get. And the cost of building or the cost of innovation, which we like to call it, is not weighing you down. You know, so that's our solution. You understand? What's our value proposition? Our value proposition to you is we want to reduce your cost. You know, we want to increase your ability to deliver business. We want you to make money. And our objective is to ensure that you are serving your customers the best way you can without crippling your business. Everybody here has innovative ideas. I know you have something amazing you want to build. You know, how you're going to build it is very important. It's even more important than the solution. You mean the path to solving that problem is very important. If you don't manage your money properly, your capital properly, I remember investors now, there's a down market now, but you still need to innovate. You know, best startups are built during bear markets. If you don't get your finances right, you may be sunk in by the cost, and you may not, the idea may not get to where it wants to be. You know, so where are we in our journey? You know, the thing is with OneLiquidity is we are super integrated, and most people wouldn't know, but we probably process value for a lot of people already. And our business is not just integrated into regular fintechs. We have a lot of multinationals, oil companies that are integrated into our solution because we provide good FX flows. We provide good crypto to crypto flows, crypto to fiat flows, offshore payments, and all that integrations directly for a lot of businesses and fintechs. We work with almost any player in the space that you think about. We have a direct integration with them where we work with them. They flow through us, or they buy from us, or they sell to us. You understand? There's that deep integration into the system. And why is that? Because of I've been in the space for a while, so a lot of people who know, they understand where to get the flows, you understand, and they come directly to like people on the grassroots that know how to do this. And so we have been in this business for a while, but we have been very low key. So far this year, we have processed in value about $3 billion. So a lot of volume has flowed through us, and we keep growing that constantly. You know, we are working with more people, and now we want to make the platform not just for the big boys, but enable everybody to have access to that flows, to that liquidity, and be able to roll out products at low cost. You understand? We are probably one of the largest liquidity providers on the continent. We work with the bigger guys. I don't like to mention names because everybody doesn't want anybody to know who their supplier is, but we work with a lot of them. You know, we directly trade in a lot of exchanges. We provide liquidity to a lot of exchanges that you probably use, but you wouldn't know. We work with a lot of multinationals that need flows in different countries. We help them cancel out those flows and ensure we use the right lines to actually get that in. You know, and another thing we do is experience. You know, want to leverage our experience and our consulting. We talk to a lot of people, a lot of businesses. We like to understand what you're building. You know, a lot of my friends that we started businesses together started, you know, studying new ideas. You know, being in the space for a while, I've seen a lot of startups grow, and I have a lot of people that work directly with us, you know, to get their business to the right level. You know, so consulting, talking, understanding what you're doing, and looking for how to help you is at the core of what I do and what we do at OneLiquidity. You know, and for the businesses we work with, the first thing is growth. You know, we have seen accelerated growth. You know, Yellow Card took us about 4 years to build. You know, the first startup that integrated into OneLiquidity, they got to Yellow Card size volume in less than a year. You know, they are almost doing the same amount of volume because we removed all the unnecessariness. They had to just focus on two things: their customers and their growth. You know, so when you have the headache removed away from you, you just think about how will I reach my customers? How do I build innovative solutions to get to that place? Because to be honest, what will waste your time the most when you're building is not customer acquisition. It's technology and liquidity. Who will supply me liquidity? You talk to 10 different suppliers before you get the right one. For technology, you talk to 20 different people before you get the right priced one. So it's very, very difficult. If you can cut out all those headaches, you're already off to the tracks. Another thing is revenue. Revenue is very important because you need to make money. You know, and for us, what we want to help you do is build hyper-localized products that actually make you money. You know, when your overhead is more than your profit, you're going to run into the ground. You keep paying a lot. But if you have costs that are associated and are minimized to just the thing you're processing, you tend to know what your profit is from the jump. Another thing is we want you to build hyper-localized product. I'm tired of everybody saying, I want to build this for Africa. Why don't you build for just Lekki? There's a lot of problems in Lekki. The problem is, if you want to build for Lekki, your investors want you to build for Africa. So you can't focus on Lekki because they can't fund a business that does building in Lekki. But there are problems in Lekki that you want to solve, you understand? Having a cost model that works and scales is what you need, and that's what we are building at OneLiquidity, to give you the access to that low cost. And so we make money when we make money, you understand? Or we make money when you make money, whichever case may be, you understand? And what we want to build is a community of people, really. I'm so passionate about Africa. I believe that Africa is the next frontier. I don't see any place in the world that has as much growth potential as Africa, because we have a young population, we are expanding, we have the resources, we have the people, we have the minds, we just need to get it right, we just need to get it right now. So building a platform that lets you build at low cost, help you scale, is the most important thing in this space. And there's a lot of investors that are scared about the African market, you understand, because they feel like the earnings or the disposable income of individuals are low, so they really don't want to invest in Africa because they feel like it will take too long. And another thing is there's no capital markets here, so the only way for African startups to cash out is if they go to the New York Stock Exchange. So these are very big problems where investors feel like, do I invest in Africa or not? But if you can make money as your business, you don't need an investor, to be honest. In fact, investment, selling equity is a bigger cost when you realize it, when you start building. It's better you keep your equity. If your business becomes $1 billion business, now you have $1 billion, but if you sell equity, you keep selling equity, it's a very expensive thing. So you need to find a process that actually lets you grow without you selling away most of your equity, So we want to build a community of like-minded people. We want to build a community of innovators. We want to build a community of engineers. We want to build a community of people that can build products, and build something that will change Africa. So it's kind of in our mission and our vision to enable businesses from Africa grow, thrive, and reduce costs of innovation and build and accelerating their go-to-market by providing them the bricks that they need to grow. You understand? So, the world awaits you, my brothers and sisters. How are you? What are you building today? How can you change the world? And we at OneLiquidity, we are here to help you achieve those dreams. So thank you very much, guys. And see you on the other side.